Welcome to the Gate 7 International Podcast, your official English source for all things Olympiacos FC and Greek football.
The first day of training is when I realized, this is why they win the league every year.
When I spoke with Kevin, if I'm going to sign or no for Olympiacos, he said, you are crazy, go direct, my friend.
Να πετύχω ήθελα να μείνω στην ιστορία του Ολυμπιακού.
I can't speak, sure.
Yeah.
Έλα μαλάκα!
Σαγαπώ πάρα πολύ, Πειραιάς. Είμαι Γάβρος πάντα, όλοι μαζί. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, kalimera, kalispera, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another episode of Gate 7 International. I'm your host, Costa. We're back. It's October time. Transfers are finished, guys. No more transfers, no more free transfers. It's been the longest transfer window ever in history. It really has been. And finally, Olympiacos back on the pitch today against Atromitos with a new/old coach. Michel Gonzalez on the bench today for the first time since his return against Atromitos. 2-0 victory for Olympiacos tonight. Fairly comfortable win, and Olympiacos is back to winning ways. We're going to get back into the swing of things here as well. I'm alone for the moment. I may have Ari joining me a little bit later on. Labro is back in the US on Pacific time. So we're all trying to get a little bit back into the swing of things here on the podcast. Guys, if you remember, we reached 2,000 subscribers on YouTube some weeks ago, and we announced a giveaway. A giveaway for what I'm holding here is the 2021, or rather 2022-23 Olympiacos jersey with Marcelo's name on it. The giveaway has been on our Instagram for a couple of weeks now, and it ended last night, and we promised that we would announce the winner of the giveaway tonight on the podcast. I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to keep you in suspense a little bit longer before we reveal the winner. We did one of those random spin the wheel type things, of course. So there'll be a video dropping a little bit later on during this podcast. If you're watching online on YouTube, find out who the winner is. Stick around a little bit more to find out who the winner is of this wonderful, wonderful giveaway. And guys, if you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe. Liking, subscribing doesn't cost you anything. It really helps us to grow our reach, find other Olympiacos fans around the world. So let's talk about the game today, shall we? 4-4-2 for Michel. It didn't surprise me, to be honest. It's a formation that he did use even in some big games in the Karaiskaki Stadium in the Champions League. What can we say? I mean, let's look at the lineup. We were expecting Konstantinos Zoulakis to start in goal. There was a lot of talk even before Thomas Vachlik's injury that Zoulakis would be starting in goal. He would get an opportunity. Thomas Vachlik's performances, with the exception of the penalty shootouts against Bratislava and against Apollon Limassol, he's been a little bit shaky. And actually, if you do read the post that he put up on Instagram a couple of days ago, he revealed that actually he'd be playing with a shoulder injury for quite some time. So Vachlik looks set to be out for 2 to 3 months. Konstantinos Zoulakis looked like he was going to get an opportunity anyway. He sat between the sticks today. Made one good save, actually. I think it was in the second half. Pretty much a point-blank header. Good reflex save. I think that was pretty much the only real opportunity that Atromitos had where Zoulakis was really called into action, other than a couple of routine crosses that he came out comfortably. So all in all, good news with Zoulakis. In the meantime, it's been a while since we did a podcast. The last one that we did with friends from Door on Tour, the Nottingham Forest podcast. If you guys haven't checked that out already, it's been a lot of talk about the evolution of Olympiacos' relationship with Nottingham Forest over the summer, with Forest going up to the Premier League. A lot of similarities between the clubs, lots of transfers, both teams still searching for identity. It was a really good podcast that we did the other day with Dave from the Door on Tour podcast. Go and check that out if you haven't already, or whenever you get some time, go and watch it, have a listen. Good stuff. I was going to say, since the last time we did a podcast, a certain Alexandros Paskalakis signed for Olympiakos on a free transfer as well. It's been rumoured all summer, and finally, I think with the Vachlik injury the last few days, that chip was cashed in easily. He's a 31 to 32-year-old goalkeeper, Greek international, has been with BAUK for a few years, won the league with them a couple of years ago. I don't think we haven't weighed in on this, so I'm just going to get into this real quick now. I think, a lot of people were pointing at Paskalakis' numbers last year, saying he was statistically, according to Opta, the worst keeper in the league. What I will say about Paskalakis is I think he's got a very good frame, good body for a goalkeeper. He's tall. He does like to make his saves look better than they are sometimes because of that. Because how tall he is, he does look quite. He looks exciting, like when he makes a good save. Don't forget, guys, this is also a player that was in our academy many years ago. A player that looked up to Dimitris Eleftheropoulos, a keeper that came out of the Olympiakos Academy. My favourite keeper of all time at Olympiakos. I do pick him over Nikopolidis. Sorry if that upsets some people. Eleftheropoulos was actually Paskalakis' coach at Panthrakikos some years ago. Anyway, long story short, Paskalakis looks happy to be in Piraeus, and for me, I think I like the fact that we're giving the opportunity to Zoulakis, and we've brought in experience, a keeper like Paskalakis. If Paskalakis can play anything like he did the season that BAUK won the league, then I think we've brought in a very good keeper. So the rest, of course, we'll see on the pitch. Guys, I'm going to go straight to the comments, not forgetting any of you guys, of course. Aguilos Goods, all of you guys keeping me company tonight. So just, get your questions and your comments in, and I'll be here at least for a good hour and a half to chat with you guys about all things Olympiacos, the game today, the game on Thursday, even. We can talk about whatever you guys want. Everything goes. Drop your comments in to the chat. I will also drop the link later on for you guys to join. Yasu Aguile, Yasu Mano. Since I'm alone, guys, as well, even if you fancy coming on speaking some Greek with me, do it. It's just me tonight. Look at my eyes, DC. Another day, another ghost penalty for Panathinaikos. Do you know what? I wasn't even watching that, mate, but I almost forgot to say, congratulations to the basketball team. Basketball season gets off to a great start, even if it is a meagly Super Cup. Trophy's a trophy. Victory against your rivals, 67-52, I believe the final score. That's Olympiakos' first trophy for the year against arch rivals Panathinaikos, and I think that's 8-0 record now on the trot against Panathinaikos. Long may it continue. George Canvili says, after a long while, we saw the Olympiakos of old. We'll get into that, mate. We'll get into that. Don't know if it's the Olympiakos of old, but certainly pretty dominant performance. Most importantly, just clear scoreline, clean sheet as well, guys. Clean sheet. It's been a while, and we'll talk about the defense as well. This is a topic that we've been talking about all summer. Look at my eyes. DC says, didn't like Elada being in Versailles today. It was looking like they were not playing at all. Aguilar says Versailles lost his pace, his abilities have fallen. What else we got? Good evening, Fiscardo, Yasufilemu. First DT by the Chicken Rabbits for this year, Olympiacos. Hello, Costa. Hello, Book. I hope you're well. Volos have missed the major of Monaco is the surprise of the league. What did Volos do today? I haven't checked in, guys. Not that I really care what Volos did, but anyway. Cerveros says, great day tonight. Victory over Atromitos and victory over Vassilos for the Basketball Super Cup. Yes, exactly. Smiles on our faces. We can smile a bit, guys. Like, seriously, it's been pretty miserable. It's been a bit negative. It's been a difficult summer. Finally today, I at least felt like we had something to smile about today, honestly. And I said we'll get into the match a little bit more and talk about the players that were on there. Thank you, Mano. Mano says, best red and white channel. Ευχαριστώ, φίλε μου. Να είσαι καλά. Χασίση και κόκα και κούπα με μπαρτζόκα. Says, Kerveros, γεια σου, φίλε μου. Oh, and I believe, what is this? 2-0 against the mighty Aris. That's Volos, is it? Okay. Well, Alan Pardew finding out that the Greek league can be complicated, huh? Anyway, let's get back to the game today. Keep your comments coming in, guys. I'll keep reverting back to the chat. So we said 4-4-2. We talked about the keeper situation. At the back, Reabchuk returns on the left. A lot of talk about Reabchuk. I don't agree with. We've talked about Reabchuk and the fact that he's been run into the ground. I think some fans are really taking it a step too far with Oleg. I think that the fact that he didn't go with his national team did him some good. He did get some rest. He looked a bit more fresh today. Could have had an assist for Bakambu, who headed with power down into the ground, but it was too close to the keeper. Yaniotis made a really good reflex save. I think that was around the 30th minute. Oleg made one of those darting runs and the ball over the top found him, and he made a nice cross into Bakambu. And generally, I thought Oleg was much better than what we've seen in the last few games. Offensively, he looked like he got a rest the last couple of weeks. It was good that he didn't go off with his national team. Do I want to keep seeing Oleg as our starting left back? No, guys, I don't. I watched a bit of the Israel game the other day where Leidner played. I want to start seeing this kid play for us as well. Marcelo was on the bench today, so we might start seeing Marcelo get some game time soon. So I think it's good that Oleg finally feels a bit of a fire up his arse as well. It's good that he got a rest. On the other side as well, I thought Vasalko had a good game. What do you guys think? We talked about it with the guys in our group chat, and this is always relative to what we've seen from Vasalko so far. So I'm not saying he had an amazing game, but he played 90 minutes, played the whole game, and he looked solid, pretty solid at the back. Made some good interventions, good tackles, got forward a few times, and I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I'm not going to lie, guys. When he took the decision to retire from the Croatian national team, you felt like the writing's pretty much on the wall. And I'm gonna share another little story with you guys. Some of you may know this. Some of you may think what I'm saying is stating the obvious. But when we talk about Vasalko, this is a player that essentially gave his knees for the Croatian national team. What was it? The World Cup, where they got to the final, was it against France? He was playing with an injection every game. Every game that tournament, he played with injection. So this guy, we've talked about his injury history. We all know. This is it with this player. Huh? So I hope that today was the start of, let's say a fresh start for him. The Greek league is not the fastest paced league in the world. Let's hope that he can build some sort of fitness moving forward via the Greek league, and we can see more of him and better performances as well, defensively and offensively as well. But I think for me, Vasalko had a good game today. Aguilos Good saying Vasalko was decent defensively and offensively, but some touches were heavy. Yep, there was one incident in the second half. I think he he was involved in build-up and he managed to get himself into the box, and he had an opportunity either to take it on his left foot and take a shot, but he went to chip the ball past the defender, get to the byline and make a cross from inside the penalty box, and he ended up kind of chipping it too far ahead of him, couldn't get there, and yeah, he lost the ball. So hopefully that's a sign of more positive and more good things to come from Versalco moving forward. And guys, defensively, at the centre-back pairing. Now, we did a poll on Twitter the other day. We asked people, who's our best centre-back pairing? And things have changed a lot at centre-back. It seems Manolas gone to the United Arab Emirates. Bar injured for more than at least a couple of weeks. He's going to be out. Retsos injured. Basically, the only two centre backs we had available today were Socrates Papastathopoulos and Pape Abusise. And guys, we've talked about the fact that we haven't had a steady centre back pairing for a really long time. You want to know what the last steady centre back pairing we had was? It was Cisse and Socrates from the beginning of last season. Then we started tinkering a lot post-December, January 2022. But Socrates Cisse was the centre-back pairing that started last season in the Europa League games against Antwerp at home, the games against Fenerbahce. That was our centre-back pairing. Socrates started the season with 2 injuries. So he travelled to Austria, got injured, day 1, setback. He's not the youngest person in the world either. He's got a fairly heavy frame. He's not as light-footed as he was. So I think Socrates and Cisse have some chemistry. They know each other. They've played with each other quite a few games already. They look comfortable today. Can't say they were really tested that much, but then again, based on what we've seen all season, I think this is one of the steadiest performances we've seen of a centre-back pairing to date, at least for this 2022-2023 season. So we don't really have many choices going into the Qarabag game. See, some of you are already asking me about Qarabag. That's going to be a totally different proposition to the game that we played today, and we can talk a little bit about that later on in the show. But again, I think it's just positive, guys, that we have a clean sheet at the back. When's the last time we kept a clean sheet? I struggle to remember. And also just good to see finally, after going 1-0 up, we didn't eat a goal and then have to, just get anxious about scoring that second to kill off the game or finish the game even. We did it. We did it today, and honestly, it could have been more than 2 goals. I mean, let's have it right. Let's have a look at the story of the game today. We've basically, and let me just pull up the stats. We've got 53% possession in the first half, 11 shots on goal, 5 shots on target. We've hit the post as well. We've missed the penalty. El Arabi's missed the penalty today. And then right after, Masouras gets a chance, hits the post. And you're thinking, or at least it went through my mind today, is like, oh God, it's going to be one of those days where Andreas Yaniotas comes to Karaiskaki and, just saves everything. And you're thinking, oh, for God's sake. Luckily, it wasn't. Okay, got another penalty. And generally, we looked like it should have been more. It should have been 3 or 4. It could have been 3-0 going into halftime. I'm not exaggerating. Coach Mitchell's chiming into the chat. Are you not entertained? I wonder if that's our good friend from Australia. Hello, mate. Thanks for chiming in. So yeah, guys. I mean that was the story of the first half going in at 1-0. Like I said, could have been more. And then the second half, we finally did it. Bakambu. Let's talk about Cedric Bakambu. A lot of people are getting a lot of text during the first half and saying, "Oh, what's Mitchell's idea? Like, why are we just is his are his instructions just to throw the ball in over the top? And because we did that quite a lot today. Atromitos, they came in with a fairly high line against us, and you saw in Bom, Huang, and Villa, a lot of our players looking for Bakambu to play off the last defender. Bakambu was running in behind, making darting runs. Reabchuk was making overlaps. Masouras was making those diagonal runs. So there was a lot of situations in the first half where we had balls going in over the top. And when you've got a player like Bakambu's just, honestly, guys, I think this player, when he's fit, Yanni, stick around. Giveaway results coming soon. Let me just finish on this note about Bakambu and we'll do the giveaway. Okay, guys? I think this striker is going to terrorize Greek defenses when he's fully fit. Honestly, like when we were talking in the summer about a striker and we were talking about El Arabi, his age, the size of his contract, like whether he's worth that money at his age, does he have more to give? Should the club have already identified his replacement? Was it right to re-sign him? Was it not? Blah, 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 yada, yada. If you talk to any of us on the podcast, all of us, even you, I mean, all the fans, I think nobody forgets what El Arabi's contributed to this club. He's top scorer of Olympiacos in European competitions. Historic. Not the same striker that was here 2 years ago. So you see flashes of brilliance like we did for the first goal, leading up to the first goal, where he chipped the ball over a midfielder and played a lovely ball into Bakambu, who then goes and wins the penalty. But I want to see a striker at Olympiacos that has pace, that has energy, that can run at defenses, that can run in behind. I think in Europe it's so important as well. And it's, sadly, Bakambu can't play in Europe, but I think this is a signing for the long term as well. He's not the oldest. I think correct me if I'm wrong, I think he's 30 years of age. I think he brings a different dimension up front for us. And with El Arabi in a 4-4-2, I'm not surprised if we're going to see more of this moving forward in the Greek league in particular. Now, okay, a lot of you are clamoring for the giveaway. So, all right, let's do this one more time. This is what the lucky winner is going to get. Marcelo jersey, number 12. And guys, don't forget, I'm just going to repeat what Mitchell said. I know there's all this craze about Marcelo, but like Mitchell said in the press conference the other day, it's not the name and the number on the back, it's the emblem on the front. Okay? Just remember that. Now, let's go. I'm going to find the video. Giveaway announcement is coming right now. And there you have it. The lucky winner is Mr. Marcos Sayas. Marco, congratulations. You're the winner of our giveaway. Thank you very much. I don't know if you're watching, Marco. Marco, if you're watching, get in here. I'm going to drop the link one more time. Whoever wants to join. Marco, if you're there, come and say hello, mate. I can't give you the t-shirt via the internet, but I will send it via post. Scarteria sto Marco. One more time, Marco. This is yours. Marco Sayas, Marcelo jersey coming your way. We'll be in touch via Instagram, and you can send us your address, and we'll make sure that you get your jersey. Guys, there were a lot of people that wanted that jersey. A lot of you that participated in the giveaway. Sorry, we only had one to give. Sorry, only one person can be lucky enough to win the jersey, but we will be back with more giveaways in the future. I do promise that. Stick with us. If you're new, don't forget to like and subscribe, or even if you're, coming back or watching us, hit that like button, guys. Help to get the episode out to more Olympiacos fans around the world. Do a quick shout out to our sponsor as well, BetUS. If you're a betting man, you can use our code Gate7INTO at betus.com.pa. If you use our code, you'll get 125% boost on your first deposit. So if you put $100 on the account, you'll get an extra 125 euro or dollar on your account to place your bets. So Gate7INTL, that's at betus.com.pa for those of you that like to do a bit of betting. Some more congratulations now for our basketball team, 8-0 against Panathinaikos. That's right. Going to keep reminding, I don't know if Panathinaikos fans watch this show. This show is open to everyone. Not going to lie, of course, we're on Olympiacos channel. Hi, Costa, just joined. Probably you spoke already about the game. I'll watch it later. Keep up the good work, guys. Thank you, buddy. We're getting through the game, mate. Pretty much like talking about the players, how the game went. Talked a bit about Bakambu. Aguilar, sorry. Heart beating like crazy. Sorry you didn't get the giveaway this time, mate. Fiscardo says Imbom was once more fantastic. Pleasure to watch him. Yes, mate. It's one of those players. He came. A lot of our players, they came back from international duty with niggly injuries. Some more serious than other. James Rodriguez couldn't play today. There was talk about even Imbom not being able to play, but we saw him play almost 90 minutes. Samaseku came on in stoppage time. I think Imbom went down with cramps. I don't think it's anything serious. The guy's gone to Seoul and played 2 90-minute games. I think it is with South Korea, and he's played 90 minutes today with us. So I hope he needs some rest. Big game coming up on Thursday against Karabag, of course. But yeah, it's a different team when he's on the pitch for me. Really, he's so calm and collected on the ball. And you know what? The scary thing is, I don't think that he's even close to 50%. I still think he's got so much more to give. Think about it. Like, this team hasn't gelled. We're in October, and no, I think we still have a lot more to see from Imbom Hwang. I think we're only beginning to see flashes. But when you're a player with that kind of ability, you can already have such a great impact. So I'm super excited. I just, guys, if you've got any wood around you, like, knock on wood, keep your fingers crossed that this guy keeps fit, because he really is, for me, I think one of the best players on our team. And everyone will look at James Rodriguez, everyone will look at Marcelo. When those guys are fit, I hope they get fully fit soon as well. And, this team will really start to look different. That's the hope we all have. I'm fed up of being negative this season. It was hard. It was hard for everyone this summer, but this is me speaking. We have to look forward. We have to look forward, not backwards. A lot of mistakes were made over the summer. We've talked about them on this show many, many times with you guys. We haven't hidden behind any of that. But I want to look forward, not backwards. Good signs from Mitchell today. Mitchell understands how to win games in Greece. And I think he showed that today. It's early days, but But we said like these games this month is super important. Wins are important, like performances are important, but maybe right now wins are more important because wins will give the confidence to the team, and it's massive. It's much more today than winning a Super League game and trying to close the gap between us and the top. But going into the game on Thursday, a lot of you already asking my thoughts about the game on Thursday. Massive boost to get a win today. And like I said, Thursday's a different proposition against a really, really good team, champions in their country. We'll see. I'm very happy to announce that I am no longer going to be hosting this show by myself, but Marshall is here. Bienvenue.
Hi.
Marshall, what's up?
How are you? I'm fine, and you?
I'm good. I was saying to the fans today that I think finally we can smile a little bit. Like
Yes.
we can allow ourselves to smile, not just because the basketball team won against Panathinaikos, but because in the football we've seen a pretty good performance. We've seen a clean sheet at the back, and hopefully the players take confidence into the next game against Karabag and the future games in the league. But I've given some of my thoughts about the game already. I've started talking about players individually, going through the lineup. Share with me like your thoughts of the game, like how you feel. What did you think of the lineup? Like, were you expecting 4-4-2? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think that we can see that Mitchell knows how to win those games in Super League because it's not. I won't say it's not a matter of tactics, but I think it's more something mental in the head. Like when I saw the lineup, I knew that we were going to win the game, like not easily, but more easily than we saw under Corberan against Ionikos or against Passianina, for example, because when you're at Atromitos and you see a 4-4-2 with Bakambu and El Arabi, you know that you are going to be in trouble because those are two very prolific strikers, and we have seen that even if El Arabi is close to the end, I think, at Olympiacos, but him and Bakambu together, like they basically destroyed the Atromitos defense. So this is something I really enjoyed, like seeing Olympiacos playing as the strong team, because we are the strongest team in this league. So we have to play like this in every game, and especially on those games that are must-win games in the league. And this is the thing that Mitchell can bring to this team, because he knows what Olympiacos matters in this league. He knows how to handle those kind of players, and I think it will make a difference with Corberan on the Greek league, because in Europe it's totally different because it doesn't have the same players. Some of them are out of the list, but as you say, it's a day when we can smile as Olympiacos fan, because it's a clear win, and I don't see any bad points today, apart maybe of El Arabi injury. But apart of that, everything is positive today.
Yeah, that's right. It's something we haven't talked about yet. Youssef El Arabi came off at halftime. There was nothing said, but now it has been reported that he has an injury, a lateral ligament on his knee. Looks like a strain, and he's going to miss at least a couple of games, but he's getting an MRI tomorrow, and we'll know more for certain, I guess, tomorrow late in the afternoon, evening. And that is, it's not great to lose your striker like that. Somebody you're paying so much money for. But I think somebody asked earlier in the chat today about why didn't BL play today. I can't remember who asked the question. Anyway, this was definitely a reaction that I had when I think all of us, when we saw the lineup today, we thought, oh, that's interesting. BL's not there. But then I said earlier, Marshall, that the 4-4-2 didn't surprise me because 4-4-2 is something that Mitchell used quite often in his previous stint as well, particularly when we played at the Karaiskaki. I expected BL to get some minutes during the course of the game, but I feel like Mitchell's, and this might be complete bullshit, but I feel like Mitchell, in his talk to the players, he may have said to them, like, there's obviously a lot of players at the training ground. And he said to everyone, you're all going to get your chance. As many players that are there, you're all going to have your chance to play. Because let's be honest, he has a different set of players that he can play in Europe and a different set of players that he uses in Greece. He can't play Bakambu in Europe. He can't play Samaseku in Europe. He can't play Agibu Kamara in Europe. He played all those players today. And BL, you want to have BL on like full cylinders, 100% in that game on Thursday, because that game on Thursday will define whether we have any future in the Europa League or whether we have any future in Europe whatsoever come January, come 2023. And I make a prediction now, we may even see BL up front as a fake 9. That's how he played for Copenhagen last season. And with El Arabi out, who do we have? We've got AK-47. But for me, it's not really an option. I would go with BL up front on Thursday.
Yeah, me too. And what you are saying is, it looks like Olympiacos basketball team the last 2 seasons, if I'm right, like with a team playing in the league and another one playing in the Euro League. And this is something very difficult for a manager to handle, because obviously players like Bakambu, they all want to play in Europe, like same for James, stuff like that. But
yeah,
it's also part of the job to be able to win those games. And as you say, this game against Karabakh is the most important game for us, because I've watched Nantes play today in the French league, and they are close to going into the relegation zone. So I don't really understand what happened in this first game, but this is not a team that we can allow to be top of us in the group. So we definitely need 4 points against Karabakh, and I think it will be enough for the third point, because I don't see Nantes taking any points against Freiburg. And maybe Biel as a fake 9 has to be the answer, because you can't use Kamara as a starter in a European game this season. It's not possible. And yes, I'm going to turn off this light because I see that it's terrible. Sorry.
I can't see a world in which what's his name, Abubakar Kamara starts on Thursday. I just can't see it, and there's no other option. So I think I hope BL starts up front on Thursday. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't seen Karabakh play, but even without seeing them play, just watching some highlights, I mean, it's a team, it's a unit. They play together. They know how to play. So it's not going to be an easy game. But again, like this entire group, if we had this group some years ago, we'd be laughing metaphorically. Say, okay, this is a group from which we can qualify, and Karabakh's a team that Olympiacos should be beating when Olympiacos plays like Olympiacos. And you do hope that, again, Mitchell kind of gives that confidence, that aura like to the players to go out and we have some luck and we pick up some points. Because if we pick up points against Karabag, it's all to play for against Nantes on I think it's the 3rd of November at the Karaiskaki. So that's, whether we're playing for Europa League, whether we're playing for conference, it doesn't matter. The last game against Nantes, we need to be having something to play for. Go.
Because if I can add something, is not as a lot of issues when it comes to away games. Like they conceded like 2 goals in the first 5 minutes today in Monaco, and this is a huge weakness of this team going to play away, and especially in this kind of game in Greece for the first time in Europe since 20 years. They did a terrible game in Karabakh because they just don't know how to play away game in Europe yet, because the squad they have qualified by winning the cup. It does not mean that it's a squad that knows how to play European games. Like, they don't have a lot of quality players. So I think that 5 points for Olympiacos would be enough to be third of the group. 4 points against Karabakh and maybe 1 against Nantes. It could be a game in which we just need a draw to go through if we do the job against Karabakh. So I hope so, because if Mitchell managed to get a good dynamic in Greece and saving something from Europe, the second half of the season could be fantastic with all the players you have, maybe some cuts in the squad.
Yeah. I mean, with the cuts in the squad, it's not really clear, is it? I mean, I think the only thing that's clear is that Androutos, Koutris, Yannis Masouras, Kenny Lala, those 4 have been cut for sure. It was
He said, Michel, I read, he said that he relies on Greek players. So if we saw today Vrusai on the lineup, so maybe Koutris or Androusos can play some Super League games. The players I see not being in the club from January are the loans, like De La Fuente, maybe Bowler or Rijo, because with the aimment of foreigners in the squad, cancel the loans seems the easiest solution to me, apart from other departure on the squad, like, for example, maybe El Arabi, maybe Kamara. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an interesting take. I mean, I think there's a lot to be said about Mario Vrusai starting the game today. But we haven't really seen much, if anything, from Bowler or Conrad de la Fuente since they came. Not that, Josh Bowler in particular, he was just kind of thrown in. He came and he was thrown into a game in Greece. I think one of the games that you guys watched, Ionikos. And then he was thrown into the European games, even at Nantes. I think he came on. He came on again. He started the game against Freiburg. But normally, Pedro Martins would have never thrown him in like that. He'd try to, integrate him into the team. Not that there was really much to integrate Josh Bowler into in terms of actually having a team. That's still work in progress. But I think you've seen a clear signal there from Mitchell with him leaving them out. Vrusai, for me, was disappointing today, particularly first half. He just looks like he's not 100%, like, ready to put his feet in, where it's a 50-50 ball. He put in a nice cross for Bakambu in the second half. Bakambu should have scored. It was a very nice cross he put in. But besides that, I can't remember anything from him today.
It's not enough to be an Olympiacos starter, in my opinion, even in the Super League. But yeah, I think it's sad to say that, but I don't really understand why Rangelovic left, because as much as we hate this guy, but in this kind of game, is the kind of player that knows how to score. Like the situation that Gary had at the end that was saved on the line. It's the kind of situation he has to. Rangelovic knew how to end that, and he left because he was the only one that was wanted abroad. But if it's to see Vrusai on the lineup, then just keep Rangelovic. And you mentioned Bowler, and I totally agree with you, because he was throwing on the mess that was Olympiacos at that time. And this kind of player, they need like one goal on the first start, or one goal, one assist, or something like that, to win the attention of the coach, because we all see De La Fuente missing two clear situations against Volos, and you knew it was over for him from that point, because he is a foreigner, so he's probably the first choice when it comes to cut players on the squad list to make room for another foreigner. So it's how it works in Olympiacos. Same for Weizhou Wang as a striker. If you don't score in the first 5 games, you're basically cut from the club. And I'm glad Bakambu scored a brace today, because it shows that he can bring a lot of things to the club, and also for his confidence, it's good, because he didn't score a lot of goal in Marseille in his last game. So he needs to score. He scored twice today, and I'm pretty sure he will skyrocket the best scorer timetable of the season.
Yeah. Now, do you know what? I think you're bang on with what you said about Bowler and Weizhou Huang. When you come into a club like Olympiacos, or sorry, rather De La Fuente and Weizhou Huang.
Yeah.
It's sad but true, and it wouldn't be the first time that we see players that have come in get cut early. And I mean, we've already seen it with Zinkernagel, which I think all of us agree that was a terribly mismanaged situation with him. But anyway, I was saying just before you joined, Marshall, that I don't want to look back anymore. I just want to look forward. When it comes to the season, I think that we've said everything that we wanted to say in terms of what's gone wrong, and dare I say who's to blame, and all of those things. But hopefully today is the beginning of something new. I do want to bring up a comment for you from Fiscardo, who's asking about his transfer status, but he came in on a free, right? And he signed a two-year deal.
It's not a loan. It was I don't know. I don't remember the word.
It was released.
It was released. True, you said that. It was released by Marseille, because it was close to be the highest earner of the club. So they wanted to get rid of him because he didn't fit in the Igor Tudor playing style. So he had to left, and Olympiacos was the only solution for him, I guess, at the time. So, but I'm pretty sure, I was sure before today that he would be a top signing for Olympiacos, just like El Arabi was when he came, but in a better situation, because he's coming from the French league. And we saw today he could have scored a hat-trick maybe with more accuracy in his shoots. Like the way he's claiming the ball, his physical abilities. We all know that in the Greek league, in 80% of the game, he will have 3 or 4 situations each game.
Yeah, no, he's the player. He's the kind of player that I wanted to see come in the summer. Someone with pace, someone physical, just somebody with energy. And like you said, you see it with him. He's got for the Greek league, he's got a good touch, and he's played in Spain, more recently in League One.
Yeah.
So I think you're spot on. It's like El Arabi, but coming from a different a higher level than what El Arabi was playing when he came the first season. So I think he's a player that's not 100% fit. You saw him go down with cramps at the end, right after he scored the second goal, and he had to come off. So I think it's a striker that could really terrorize the Greek league when he's fit.
Exactly.
So it's one of those situations now where, I mean, he's come in on a free, but yeah, we would have liked to get him earlier, but it is what it is, and hopefully it's one of those transfers that really makes a difference in terms of helping us get to where we need to get to in the league, which is obviously back at the top. Of course, there's some more interesting comments here. Like Aguilos is quite optimistic. Says, "I believe Olympiacos will get a result from every game in Europe that's left, whether it's a win or a draw. We'll see." Another thing, guys, for those of you watching live right now, I've put a question or rather a poll into the chat. Who was your man of the match today? I think it's pretty much between two players, guys. I gave a little shout out to Vasalko earlier because I thought he had a much improved performance compared to previous games. But I really think it's between Bakambu and Huang, and it seems that most of you, I think everyone agrees actually, it's between Bakambu and Huang. Right now, 46% of you voting Bakambu, 53 now voting Huang. If you haven't voted yet, just click Bakambu, Huang, Vasalko or other. Let us know who your man of the match was, and Marshall and I will weigh in at the end when we do our man of the match coaches grade.
I think it has to be Wong because it would be logical to say Bakambu because he scored it twice. But when you love football, you also have to give credit to the midfielders. You know, they don't score goals, but they are so important for the team. And I really hope like Huijo can play back-to-back games in October, because this is probably the hardest month of the season with so many games to play, and we definitely need him right now because he wasn't there in Nantes, he wasn't there against Freiburg, and we all saw the difference in the midfield because Koundé he's okay, but it's quite disappointing. And when the midfield is made of Mvila and Huang, it's clearly not the same. It's probably the best pair we have had since a lot of time, because like he's just so smart. He knows everything. Like he can pass the ball, he can dribble, he can win back the ball, he can do everything.
Where do you, like I said earlier before you joined, I think the scary thing with him is that I don't think he's close to 50-60% right now, like for what we see on the pitch. But it's scary to think because, like you said, all of us, like ever since he played against Apollon in Cyprus, he had an impact. But I feel like we have so much more to see from him. I honestly believe that. I honestly believe that he's not 100% gelled into the team. He's not 100% fit. He was tired today. He also went down with cramps. It's scary to think what this guy's going to do when he's 100% and when the team's clicking.
I remember when the news came that we are going to sign in Beom, I rushed to YouTube to watch some highlights, and I was like, but what is this player? Because he was passing, he was dribbling, he was creating, he was doing everything. And yeah, you mentioned the first game you played in Cyprus, and the first touch of a player never lies. Like you know is going to be so good, and it just need time and if he's able to play like 80% of the game in Europe in October, and if the club gets some results, it can change everything, both for him and both for the club. And same applies for players like James, like Marcelo, like Bakambu. There is no way it's not going to work. If it's not going to work in Europe, it will work in the league, because I've watched some clips of the Panathinaikos PAOK games today, and okay, Panathinaikos is the main threat this season, but if we play like we play today with a 4-4-2 against PAOK, for example, they have a lot of weakness in defense, and just a clear win in a derby, for example, would change everything, I guess.
Yeah, and I've only just seen the final score in Duba that they've won 2-1.
Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, the thing that I've said about them this season is that I think they do have a solid team that they've added pieces to. But if a couple of their players get injured, a couple of their key players, then I think they start to have problems. I mean, you can say the same about us. Like if Juan gets injured, we're not the same team, are we? We're not the same team. I mean, for Europe, for sure. Like in Greece, maybe you can cover it somewhat, but he really is there's one player for me that you don't want to get injured or that you don't want to play without. It's him. Right now, he's so important to how we play.
Yeah.
That's really he's the guy. He's the guy for us.
Yeah. Yeah, because in Europe, this is the quality you see immediately. Like, I remember when I was in Nantes, and I saw the performance of Kirivela, the midfielder of Nantes, the former Liverpool player, and it was so good because this is when you're close to the pitch, you can see that very clearly, because the midfield for Olympiacos was Bouchalakis and Koundé. And you saw like clearly how they lacked technical level, passing abilities. And Kirivela, it was so good. And basically, I was just watching him play like long balls, short balls, cutting passes, win back the ball and stuff like that. And Wang is the kind of player you go to the stadium to see. Like, you pay tickets for players like that, because it's both for the player he is, and also because of the man he is. Like, he's very respectful. He gives everything for the club. He knows what Olympiacos as a whole means for the fans, for the country in Europe and stuff like that. And I think he settled quite quickly in Olympiacos compared to other players. Like, they don't seem to, for example, players like De La Fuente, they don't seem to realize what is really Olympiacos, even if you're disappointing to come to Greece so young, because you wanted probably to do a career abroad. Wang, he just quickly settled on the team, and it makes me optimistic for the future, even if he's quite injury prone, or at least knocks prone, if I can say that.
Yeah, it's true. I think heart went in mouth when we saw him go down today. He was cramping. But yeah, like I said to everybody, guys, knock on wood. I think let's stop talking about Juan. I don't want him to get injured. Seriously. What else have we got to talk about? I mean, now people are starting to talk already about the Karabakh game coming up, of course. Just to clarify something, guys, because this has been brought up in the chat about Paschalakis. Paschalakis is in the UEFA list. So because Vachlik is injured for more than 30 days, there is a special UEFA rule made for goalkeepers. If a goalkeeper that's on the list is injured for more than 30 days, then the club can make a replacement. So Paschalakis is in the UEFA list. As we said earlier, Zolagis has been given the shirt right now to be our number one in Vachlik's place while he's out. So I suspect Zorlagis will start that game against Karabag, and maybe this is an exercise that we can do before we finish tonight, Marshall, is try and think about the lineup for the game on Thursday. It's very, very early, but before we do that, anything else that you want to talk about
Yes,
today's game?
just one last thing. I think Vaklik's injury could be a massive turning point for Olympiacos because Tsolakis has a tremendous potential. That's first thing. Second thing is we know that the goalkeeper position is very specific. Like you don't change the goalkeeper every game. You don't change the number one like that because it's not only about level. It's also about psychology and stuff like that. But with Vaklik injury, like Michel has the opportunity to give Tsolakis like 10 games, maybe 8-10 games. And if the club gets result on this period with a good Tsolakis, I don't see him being coming back as a number 2 because Vaklik is running out of contract in June. I think Paschalakis would accept to be number 2 because number 2 in Olympiacos, you could play like 10 games a season. It's not that bad. And having a goalkeeper being Greek, being young, we know that this is a position that you can sell a player for good money in Europe because this is how the market is. And I think it could be a very huge turning point for Olympiacos because some condition are reunited to see Tsolakis playing back-to-back games for the first time, maybe since he came into the first team. That's the thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I don't think that we can really judge from today's performance. He made a good save on that header, but it was comfortable for him. I think like the save that he made, you know, the one I'm talking about, like the header in the second half. It was a good save, but again, looking at the replay, it's like, yeah, it's a save that he should be making. It was a good save. Sure. And then otherwise, like he looked pretty comfortable coming out for crosses. That's been the main thing with Vachlik, isn't it? It's just, we talked about this on the show before, that if you're the opposing team and you're the manager and you've watched us play and you've seen the keeper, you just say, cross the ball into the 6-yard box. The keeper's not coming. And you just say, just get bodies into the box. And we saw it so many times. And we know how Olympiacos and how Olympiacos fans can be. And, you know, on the one hand, you have the same people that say, oh, Olympiacos doesn't play any Greek players. Olympiacos doesn't trust the academy. Why don't we play academy players? And, you know, Zorlagis might make one mistake and be like, oh, Zorlagis is shit. Why is he playing? He's not good enough. He's not experienced. Yeah. Yeah. So we need to kind of, I really think that it's an opportunity, like you said, to bring an academy player like Zorlagis through. And with the injury and the options that we have at keeper,
True.
It's a massive opportunity for the player.
Yeah, and you know the club better than me that there is like so many opportunity that before that happened for a lot of players because it's either an injury or it's either a crisis at the club that forces the coach to play young players. But for the goalkeeper, it has to be an injury because you don't just sideline someone like Vaklik like that, even with all the warnings it can show on the pitch, because it wasn't that bad. So you can just not sideline him without him being injured.
Yeah. No, I mean, we were saying, like, there was talk in the press that even before the injury that Zorlagis would start this game. But okay, in the end, things happened as they've happened, and now Kostadis Zoulakis is seemingly number one for Olympiacos going into the rest of the season. And I really do probably speak for all Olympiacos fans in saying that we really hope it does work out for him. And massive game on Thursday for Olympiacos and Zoulakis. The last time Zoulakis had back-to-back games was last season in the qualification. Ludogorets and before that against Baku. He played all those games, but that was during the summer. And now this is after the transfer window's finished, and there's not another big name keeper coming in. So it really is over to him now.
Yeah.
Thank you for the super sticker, Stavros Fassbender. Much appreciated, my friend. What else have we got? Nolan says, what about the centre-back that got called up to the first team? Also, what happened to Kalogeropoulos? Why is the other young centre-back getting called up over him? As far as I know, Kalogeropoulos had a pretty nasty injury last season that kept him out for a while, and he's slowly been getting back into the thick of things. So that injury set him back quite a lot. We also know that Pedro Martins wasn't really one to give opportunities easily to young players. And I mean, we saw that when we were 21 points ahead in the league, and he still wasn't giving opportunities to young players. The other guy, Chrysopoulos, is somebody that we signed in beginning of September from Aris. And apparently Coach Mitchell liked what he sees, and he gave him a chance the other day in the friendlies, training with the first team. I don't know. Let's see. Kalogeropoulos, it's been over almost 2 seasons now. We haven't seen him in the first team. So I don't know. Hopefully he gets some good game time in the B team and he can get up to a level. He's still young. I think he's 18 years of age. He made his debut at 16 with us, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, but anyway, not important. Man of the match, coach's grade. I think it's pretty easy in this one, isn't it, today? Man of the match.
Yeah, it's Wong.
Yeah. I don't think we need to say that anymore. I think, but Bakambu for me, I think he does. I think you said it very eloquently earlier, Marshall. Often the goal scorer gets the plaudits, but if you look at the grand scheme of things, I think for me, Huang's the man of the match. And looking at the votes as well, 52% for Huang, 48% for Bakambu from the fans. If you still haven't voted, your vote does count towards our man of the match. We do count the man of the matches throughout the season, and when we look at the end of the season at MVP, we do look at who the fans voted man of the match, who we voted man of the match. So keep your votes coming into the chat there. Like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I want to ask you one question before we talk Karabag. If you could go back in time, it's one of those questions. If you could go back in time after we sacked Pedro Martins, and you had 2 folders in front of you, one with Carlos Corberán and another folder with Micho Gonzalez, which one do you pick for your manager?
It's an hard question because I would have picked Corberán because I was charmed, if I can say that, with the idea it was supposed to bring in Olympiacos, but the more rational choice would have been to hire Mitchell, because as much as he failed pretty much everywhere except Olympiacos, he somehow knows how to operate in this club with the pressure, the fans, the the big squads. And this is, I think, it's the only club where the past he has as a player, as a very big player of Real Madrid, can be helpful for him as a coach, because it's something that works in Olympiacos. Obviously, it does not work over 1 or 2 seasons, but it's just the kind of player. The choice would have been clever for Olympiacos if the plan was to bring players like James, like Marcelo, like the club did all summer. You have to put Mitchell with a squad like that. Otherwise, I would have picked Corberan with a new way of operating. Like, okay, Modesto is gone, so we hire a new sports director, and it tries to sell some players and bring players like Beal, like, I don't know, like even Bowler, like, but just with a reduced squad, to give Corberan the opportunity to have B-team players and make the whole club going in one direction. But we all know what happened this summer. So if I had to do it again, I would choose Mitchell with the squad, and with the summer we lived.
Yeah, to be fair, it's a nasty question, but it's definitely something that, it's a question I thought about today, just looking at there was something different. There was something different on the pitch today. But it is, I think, that the question is difficult to answer because you have to contextualize it, and
Yes.
it's like, if you're there at the time of choosing, like when we picked Corberan, you think, yeah, this is a good choice because it's a manager that he has potential. He's done some good things, but never at the level of Olympiacos, so that it's not without risk. But now it's just like, with the help of foresight and knowing what we know, if we could go back in time, I probably would have said, okay, it's not time for experiments. It's time to go with a tried and tested method. Someone we know, somebody that knows us. It's one of those things where you say, hindsight is 2020, but you can't go back in time, which is why these questions are always interesting, just for a bit of banter. But okay, we've been going over an hour. I think the last thing that we can do, if you agree, Marshall, do you want to try and think about the Karabag game and what kind of lineup you think we could see on Thursday against Karabag? What do you think? Let's try and decipher a lineup here.
I remember Mitchell say that even in Europe, Olympiacos has to play games with another mentality, like willing to win and being more protagonist of the game. So I would have bet on a 4-4-2 if El Arabi wasn't injured. So I don't see Mitchell pairing Camara with Beal as strikers. So I would say maybe 4-2-3-1. Maybe that is the more classical lineup a coach can field right now. So I think there is no real mystery on the defense. Like, it probably will be Tsolakis with Versalco on the right, Rabchuk on the left, and Socrates and Cisse as center backs.
Yeah.
And the midfield will be Mvila and Huang, if both are okay. Maybe I think Masuras will play. And maybe
he came off early today, didn't he? He came off early, yeah.
Masuras, and I wonder who will be the second winger. Like, could be Gatti, maybe. Gatti.
He does some strange things sometimes. I want not Rodriguez, but Mitchell. Like, I remember against Juventus, he played Kasami as a right winger in the 1-0 victory. But I wonder if he might play Avila as a right winger against Karabakh. I don't know. I feel like I feel like attacking, he gives us something more. Maybe it's like when we signed Avila, I thought that he's the player that's going to be playing in Greece when we're playing against closed defenses, because he brings more in attack. And Versalco is stronger in defense, and we'll need him in Europe. So I thought the way we would share that role would be like Avila playing Greece and Versalco playing the European games. I don't know. That's just a crazy idea I have in my mind, that maybe we might see Versalco and Avila on the wing. Otherwise, going back to what I said earlier, I think that the manager has in his mind very clear idea that I have two different squads that I can pick from. And I see there is a possibility that Koundé plays with Juan and Yann Villa in the midfield, and then Biel up top. Masura is definitely on one of the wings. I didn't see from Gary Rodriguez today something that tells me start him.
Just the pace, maybe, but apart of that,
yeah. I found out an interesting fact the other day. Gary Rodriguez was teammates with Adrian and Mitchell's son at Elche, which I didn't know. So apparently they know the player very well.
Wow.
I agree with you. I can't see a 4-4-2. I can't see Mitchell going 4-4-2 with Abubakar and Biel up front. I think it's too much of an ask, and maybe if El Arabi was fit, it would have been 4-4-2. Biel, El Arabi up front, Juan and Villa, Masuras. Is it?
I don't know.
Josh Bowler? I can't see it. I can't. He doesn't strike me as a Mitchell type of player.
No, it's not
either.
Or maybe I think Valbuena could start as a 10. Maybe if Biel is a false 9. I think Mitchell is the kind of guy that will rely probably a little bit more on Valbuena on big games. Maybe just something I was wondering, because he came in like very early today, and I won't say it was a big game today, but it was kind of an important game.
Yeah,
and it's not something we've seen under Martins last season, because Valbuena wasn't playing those games. And not even with Corberan, even if he played a full game against Pasianina, I don't think it was the main option to be a 10. So in Europe, with James being out, with Fortunis being out too, I don't really see who can be the 10 apart of Valbuena, maybe for 60 minutes and then come off for someone different, because he's the kind of player that with a corner kick or a free kick or even a clear pass like he did today for Bakambu, we know that he can still assist in Europe, even if he's 38 years old.
Yeah, and again, I don't know Karabag well enough to speak and say whether Valbuena can cause big problems in the opposition midfield. We're going to try and get somebody to do a match preview to learn a bit more about Karabag. I know that they have a good, Brazilian winger or number 10 on their team. I can't remember his name for the life of me now, but yeah, I think that's a interesting thought, Marshall, about Valbuena at the 10, and like you said, he makes the assist for the second goal today, so he's come on and he's done his job, and we are playing at home, and for me also it was interesting, the choice at halftime to bring Valbuena on. I mean, obviously we've learned now that El Arabi was injured, but he could have easily brought somebody else on, but he went for his experience, and I think let's see this again now. I think the two question marks in the lineup are basically one winger position. Masouras has one, and then maybe there's one position up for grabs in the midfield, like whether you start Valbuena or whether you go with Koundé.
Yeah, maybe Koundé as a winger, maybe. I don't know.
Even that might not surprise me.
Yeah.
We saw it with Kasami some years ago.
Yeah, that's true.
Kasami is not available in Europe. How do you feel about that transfer, by the way, since we're talking Kasami?
I think it wasn't something that we need badly, but given the fact that Kasami has a very decent last season with Basel, and also he knows perfectly Mitchell. So I'm okay with that. Him and Pachalakis were two rational choices. The only issue is that we still have too many players, and it probably means that Koundé will be out. If Kasami is fit in the league, Kasami will take the spot, I guess. I don't have any problem with that, but it's just in the meantime, it's another solution that Mitchell has to find to get the whole roster included in the season, like involved in the season.
Yeah. Now, I said the other day, I thought that in an ideal world, we could have signed Kasami earlier and we could have sold Koundé because Koundé had offers to go back to Germany. But it didn't happen that way for ABC XYZ reason. I'm like you said, I think it's a rational signing. It's a player that knows the club. He knows the coach too. That's ideal, actually. So he can hit the ground running. Now all of this stuff about him crying after he signed the contract, etc. Okay, that's good for selling newspapers in Greece, and I'm sure, of course, Pat Kasami is super happy to be back at the club. I'm happy to see him back. You're always happy when players that love the club coming back.
Yes.
Nostalgia hasn't always been a good servant for us. When we bring back players, I can think of more situations where it has gone not great. Manolas, Miralas, Yaya Toure, the most recent examples that come to mind. But okay, hopefully, I think this one's going to be different. And he's a player. He had good seasons in Switzerland with Basel and with Sion before that. So it's not like we're bringing someone that kind of dropped off the map or didn't really play well. So happy with that one. And I think with that, we're kind of coming to the end of this live stream. We've been going for close to an hour and a half. Sunday night, Olympiacos back to winning ways, ladies and gentlemen. Good win to boost the confidence ahead of another crucial match. Let's just say this I feel like on every episode that we do, we're going to be saying this match was crucial. The next match is crucial as well, and we're going to be saying that all the way through to November and the World Cup, because that's the way it is. We have to end up. Our goal has to be near or at the top of the league by the World Cup, and to be playing European football come 2023 into the new year. So yeah, apologies in advance if every episode we say the next match is crucial or this match was crucial. It's just the way it is. Marshall, any last thoughts before we?
I think we have said anything.
Parfait. Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening wherever you are. If you haven't done so already tonight, don't forget, hit that like button before we shut down. It helps to get the episode out to more Olympiacos fans around the world. Help join the mission. Gate 7 International, your number one English source for Olympiacos, your one and only international home for the red and white legend. Hit that subscribe button as well. We have more content coming. We'll be looking to do a preview before the Karabag game. And of course, as always, we'll be back after Karabag for post-match reactions. Hit the bell next to the subscribe button so that you get a notification whenever we go live, whenever a new episode comes out. And last but not least, if you are a betting man, woman, BetUS is our sponsor. We thank them. If you are a betting person, you can use the code on your screen there, Gate7INTL. When you sign up and make your first deposit, you will get 125% boost using the code Gate7INTL. So guys, until next time, we're Gate 7 International, by the fans, for the fans. See you next time.
See you soon.
Kadima, you go!